Hey, what is going on? Cam back with another video, and guys, this is journey number 7, and I think it's been a few weeks. Let me check, but it's definitely been a few weeks. 4 weeks since I posted the last journey video, and holy, a lot has happened. Most importantly, we got fucking sued. Yeah, we got sued. We got, I don't know if that's the right legal term, cease and desist letter, whatever you want to call it. But I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get in to a few things, you know, from Above Club, you know, us getting sued on Above Club, what's going on with Autosource, some really cool developments there, some exciting news, and a few other thoughts. I'm gonna be dropping 2 other videos that I've recorded since I've been up at the cottage, which I'll explain here in a second. So guys, stay tuned. This is journey number 7. And you know, I really wish I did record more of these over those last 4 weeks, but man, the last 4 weeks have been busy. And hey, we're back, we're here, and we're in a new setting, so let's get into it. First, let me take a sip. Some nice coffee, some nice sunlight, some nice natural sunlight. And hey, we are at the cottage. We're at my parents' cottage, who super grateful that they've been letting me stay here. This has been the first week that I've stayed here. And for anyone that is interested, we got a cottage here on Stony Lake in Ontario, which is a beautiful lake. And it is April right now, April 25th. So the lake is super quiet, which is really nice. I know, and I talked about this on one of the videos that I'm gonna be releasing. I'll mention it quickly here. I know a lot of people don't like to be alone by themselves for prolonged periods of time, because partially I believe we're ingrained to be together as social creatures, but part of it I feel like it's been instilled in us through society that it's weird to be alone, you get called a loner, and that actually is like, you know, the complete opposite of what it should be. Like, if you can be alone by yourself and be completely at ease, and not only that, but thrive while you're by yourself, that's a really powerful thing. And so in my other video that was just shot, I just shot it on my iPhone. I think it was after a run. I love having these after run thoughts. I really dive into, you know, the power of being alone and what you can do with your own energy in prolonged periods of time. I highly recommend, so watch out for that on this channel. It's just gonna be, you know, landscape or vertical. But anyways, at the cottage, hopefully gonna be staying here for most of the summer. So gonna be seeing a few videos with this kind of background, which I think it's good. The natural lighting's sweet. And it's just, you know, a cozy vibe, you know, great vibe. Got the coffee, got the nice sunlight coming in, and we're rolling. So to get into it, guys, Above Club. Shit, we got sued. Again, don't know if that's the right legal term, and I know I can definitely talk about this, no real repercussions, but we got sued by the biggest competitor in the light therapy space for potential infringements on their patent, which was a recent development. When we first started looking into getting the light therapy space, we did check their patents, and they were all pending. They'd been pending for about, I think, 2 years or so. So we obviously didn't really follow and stay on top of it, that they went live or ended up getting active after 2.5 years. But some of their patents did go active, were still in the works, but ultimately the details doesn't really matter. What matters is we're a startup. We have little revenue coming in comparison to a company like Juve, and we're now facing, you know, thousands of dollars in legal fees if we so choose to go down that route. And so, hey, like, that's the beauty of a startup, and not only that, that's the beauty of business, and that's the beauty of problem solving, and that's the beauty of setting goals and then expecting, you know, to get there a certain way, and all of a sudden this happens. And honestly, you know, again, super grateful to have the team I have, because we're very aligned, and we focus very heavily on our attitude, our mindset, and how we perceive any events and circumstances that come our way, as individuals and as a team. And a lot of you guys, I don't even think I can really comprehend how happy we were to get sued by a company. But we were genuine, and this isn't a joke. Like, we were so thrilled to be receiving a letter from them saying, like, we're suing you, like, stop selling these products because you're infringing on our patents. We're gonna charge for damages if you don't stop, Like, very, like, legally threatening, blah, 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 blah. We were jazzed, like, we are seriously jazzed, and that's a theme if you look back in any of these other journey videos. Anything that's come up that you can look at any other, person that has that happen to them, or any other time, you're gonna think, like, that's a bad thing to happen. Our Facebook ads account getting banned, not having, like, any sales come in yet, and spending a bunch of dollars on ads, getting sued by the largest competitor in the space. Like, these are all very negative events, but ultimately what we are able to do is understand that we don't know what we don't know. And we're really not smart enough to understand how we're going to achieve the goals we've set out for ourselves as a business, to create impact and create a series of products, services, and technology that's ultimately going to make the human life easier to live a healthy life, right? Like, we don't know how we're going to do that, and it's a very long-term goal. And so when these things come up, we get really excited, and here's why. It means something is happening. It means that we're putting enough focus on our goals, and we're taking enough action towards our goals, that the universe is providing, like, hurdles and obstacles and events that are just navigating us towards that goal. And it's not always as expected. We don't know how we're gonna get there. We can have an idea, but we ultimately don't know how we're gonna achieve those goals that we've set out for ourselves. And so when something like this comes up, for the rest of my life, really, I'm never going to get worried. I'm never going to get fearful about and start thinking negative thoughts and get into this negative cycle. I'm going to get fired up. I'm like, wow, the biggest company found us and is seeing us as enough of a threat to send a letter to us to say, like, we're suing you and causing damages and da-da-da. Like, we've put enough energy into the universe for that to happen. So something's working, something is going on. And it's not your traditional way of looking at getting sued or any of these events, or just your traditional way of thinking about anything. But ultimately, it's really what I believe, and it's in my DNA now, that this is how I think, and this is how my team thinks, and ultimately that's how we're going to get by these goals, and get over these obstacles, but not only get over them, but use them as fuel to find what we really need to do to get to our goal. And because if this isn't it, okay, this is it. And now we're at a point of rediscovery. Now we're putting in front of us new challenges and new questions to start thinking about that we wouldn't have been able to think about if we didn't get sued, and if this event didn't come into place. And so there's always that bigger thinking when it comes to situations like this, that you can look at it as like, holy fuck, like, we're gonna lose a bunch of money and da-da-da, or you can see it as like, wow, we get to now experience this and go through this, and now we get to question things that we weren't able to question before. And so we got sued. I'm jazzed, I'm fired up. We're in the early stages of it. It only happened this week. We've talked to a few lawyers. We're figuring it out, but the how really doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It just matters that this is our goal, is to create impact and build a profitable business for ourselves. And how that happens, hey, we don't know how that's going to happen, but as long as we stick towards it, or stick with it and stay focused on it and continue to put energy towards it, all we know is we're going to achieve those goals in time. We just don't know when. So that's what's going on with the Above Club. The trial, and the funny thing is, we were about to launch the trial and this comes up. So we're obviously not launching the trial until we figure things out. But the trial is the new funnel that we were working on for the past couple weeks, that probably I was just talking about it very briefly in journey number 6, but we were about ready to have it go, and obviously there's going to be some more delays, which is fine, right? And that's the beautiful thing about working with a team, that we all have other things going on in our life. You know, long term, I know I'm a big believer in staying single focused. That can't always be the case, especially when you're early on. You're trying to move, you're grooving. You need to make do with what you got. And so we all do have other things on the go to support ourselves financially, to one day allow, hopefully, to this be the main focus, and to put at least for myself, put all my energy and my focus in my love and my passion into, you know, the Above Club and what it's going to become, which is, you know, creating an ecosystem of products, services, and technology that really make healthy living easy and accessible for everyone out there. So that really is the amazing part, is when things like this does come up, there really isn't a stress because there's no time limit attached to it. So with that being said, hopping over to Autosource, which is for anybody that is new. It is the business that I'm currently working on that is really providing me with cash flow to maintain and to really thrive from a wealth standpoint while we're building Above Club. And so it's a car dealership, and I've just been fortunate enough to kind of fall into this, where John gave me an office. He gave me a space to work, and he gave me an opportunity to really like revamp what he's doing from the marketing side, which included a complete website overhaul, which also, you know, in turn, you know, allowed me to recraft the marketing funnel for Autosource, which, you know, opened up a new door to a whole other opportunity that I'm not quite ready to talk on just quite yet. A lot of quites, but I will say, you know, lots on the go right there. The website is going live this week, so by the time you guys watch this video, the website will be live if you want to check it out at autosource.ca. Completely done by yours truly. Pretty happy with how it turned out. Still got to work on him with the branding. The logo and the colorways aren't the best, but I made do with what I had. And it's great. Like, this is completely from scratch. I used Webflow, Jotform, Zapier, and Google Sheets is pretty much the 4 tools that I used to build this site, which I took an industry, and this is how ripe for disruption the automotive industry is, at least in Canada. I know the US has got some disruption already, but in Canada, you know, there's all these tools that you got to piece together to make this fucking hack job of a site and system for your back-end inventory, to manage all the deals and all the inventory, and to port it into your website. And it's all by like just way too overpriced and way too complicated platforms that hardly talk to each other and only talk to certain people or certain platforms. And then I just said, fuck that. Like, I'm gonna build my entire own like ecosystem of products and do everything that all these softwares are doing for like thousands of dollars a month that you're getting charged for. I think I boiled it down to like $250 a month, $300 a month. And there's no reliance on anyone. It's completely customizable. It's pretty much all open in terms of all there's 8 APIs I can connect with. So really excited, because this is gonna be the MVP for the next opportunity that I'm in the works with, that just so happened to be a thing with, you know, stepping into the automotive world. And hey, like that's the one thing that has been on my mind is with Above Club and just in general being an entrepreneur, and is like solving problems and finding like really big problems to solve, and identifying how can there be like a really big opportunity here to solve. And I think I'm on to something with the automotive space. But the interesting thing about it, and it's true, if I've been listening to a lot of founders of, you know, some of the latest unicorn companies that have come out in the past like 10, 20 years, and they were all solving their own problems, because they ultimately faced it, then they were smart enough to identify this as a bigger problem than just theirs and others have it, and then go on to build a product that turns into what it does. But it comes down to facing that problem, and I not only faced that, but I'm sitting in it each day that I'm at the car dealership, just watching how the customers interact and how the back end interacts and all this good stuff. So I'm giving you some clues to what it could be, but it is very not disruptive. It's just, who knows, it could be. It's just very new. It could be very new. So, but there's some clues for you. So with that being said, I wanted to chat about another thing in terms of outside of business, outside of like Autosource and Above Club, just talking more on where my focus is personally, from a development standpoint, and some of the things that I've had on my mind and continue to have on my mind. And part of it is doing what I'm doing here and documenting and talking about, what's going on in my life and how I've been perceiving things, which I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I'm letting this naturally evolve, that if it happens, it happens. Now I do think who I am and what I'm trying to do in life, it will happen eventually. So I'm just kind of waiting for it to kind of naturally unfold and really not putting any kind of pressure on it. But I really do believe I've done a good job at developing my mindset and developing my mental models and really focusing on how to think about life, and stay within this lane that is my life and my journey, and do a real good job on keeping myself in balance, keeping myself moving forward, keeping myself positive, keeping myself focused on the right things. Although in my past, I've definitely tended to split my focus too far, and even still, like I mentioned earlier in this video, I really want to stay focused on one thing eventually, but I know that can't be possible until you're really rolling in that one thing. But I do think I've done a really good job at building up my mindset and building up my my communication skills and how to think about it. And over this year, a goal of mine was to really map out and build almost like a guide and like a series of principles, right? Not to the extent that someone like Ray Dalio has. He's I think he's in his 70s now. 70, so probably like 50 plus years of experience, life experience, like nowhere near that. But what I want to do is start that journey as to what Ray Dalio's finished product is of principles, but do it for what is, my generation and people that are 10 steps, 20 steps behind me, and start to build this playbook for how to perceive, living a successful life. And just to define what success is, because it's very vague and ambiguous to a lot of people, is the pursuit, the worthwhile pursuit of, I think it's the pursuit of a worthwhile dream, desire, or goal, right? So the journey of, and being able to continuously achieve more and more of that goal. You're never really achieving it, right? You can achieve goals, but you're never achieving that end goal. But living a successful life really means continuing to go towards one focus or one point, and that point may change, but you're continuing to go towards that. So I'm just slowly starting to think about how I want to roll some of those videos out, and as I document, because one habit that I've been putting in place is journaling. As I start to document my own principles that I've collected from people like Ray Dalio, people like Sam Ovens, people like Kevin Trudeau and Naval, and many people, Lewis Mocker, over time, I want to bring that stuff in and harness it and refine it into my own perspective and my own spin, because ultimately I want to have my own playbook. And whether that is through written texts, maybe it's a multimedia thing, but whether it's through written text, audio, or video, although I think where I really thrive is on camera and communicating verbally. I don't know, but it's something that I'm thinking about. And so what I kind of pose to you, the listener, is if you do find, or if you've ever found through my Instagram, when I was posting more frequently, through our conversations, if we've ever talked, or through these videos, if you found that you're interested in how I think, or some of the things I've learned, or anything really, my experience, I really genuinely want to hear that. And I've periodically thrown polls up on Instagram, which I've taken note of, which will be part of that, as long as it's within the realm of my experience and what I believe to be true and something that I've been able to experience. But if there's anything like that for you in relation to me, I would love for you to either comment below, reach out to me on Instagram, although I check that not as often lately, but those two spots, feel free, and just let me know what you're thinking. Let me know, maybe you're having a challenge with something. Like, just let me know, because I would really love to hear some of the areas where I can focus and take what I've learned, maybe focus on that principle, develop that, and then share it in videos. And then I think over time I'm going to naturally start to drop different areas and different mental models of how I think about life and how I go about myself. And I'm going to re-release videos like my routine, which I've dropped that before, like 2 years ago. I'm going to drop my routines and my habits and how I think about executing them and how I stay focused and all that good stuff. Eventually talk relationships, talk fluidity in life and how I'm able to stay in such a positive vibration level, all that stuff. So I just really wanted to end this video and talk on where my focus has been, because I've really been taking a lot of time to think for my own good and for how I can start to maybe develop some of that stuff intertwined with what else I'm doing in Above Club and Autosource. So yeah, I'd love to hear from it, because if you're still listening, that means you definitely have some interest in what I'm doing and what I'm providing here. So I would really, really, really appreciate it if you did give me some feedback, because you might be thinking right now, like I have a question, or I have something that I've been struggling with, or have a challenge with mentally, or wherever in life. It's like, is it really something that Cam wants to hear? Yes, it is. So please, if there's anything, reach out to me, and we can go from there. So thanks for listening. This is journey number 7. Really cool periods of my time, and hopefully I can start to document a little bit more as I'm fine-tuning what I'm doing in my own life. And because a lot of the time I'm thinking and I'm documenting this stuff for my own sake, and I'm like, dude, just put it out on a video and post it on YouTube. And that's why I shot those video ones, those iPhone ones that you'll see shortly. So till next time, guys, stay well, continue to learn, continue to move the body, continue to progress towards your goals, and we'll talk soon.